All right, welcome in to episode 2 of the Home Court Sports Pod. Here we are.
We made it to
Somebody's happy.
Episode 1 hasn't even uploaded yet, and we're already.
Hey,
Is
it's
it almost
working.
there?
It's working.
It's almost there.
It's
What
almost-
percentage are we at right now?
We are at 94% uploaded, guys. It's almost there.
Yeah.
Episode 1 is 94% on its way on like the fourth attempt to upload, and we're recording episode 2. Here we go.
Yeah. Well, currently, based on just the struggle it's been so far,
It's been
episode 2 might be up before episode 1.
It
so
might
this will
be.
just be
It's been ridiculous. It's
yeah,
like the
at this
fourth
point.
attempt, man. Like YouTube is being.
It's like the
so
fourth
difficult. It let you upload it the first time the whole way, and then tells you, oh wait, you have to verify your phone number
Mhm.
and then
Yep.
upload it again.
At the very end of the process, like I have to push OK. It's like, actually, wait, no, you can't do anything now.
I think it's obvious that we're
Do this first and then
so it's all
start over.
good.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Stupid.
Yeah. All right, let's get into some basketball.
Oh, yeah.
Up tomorrow. So Tuesday night, the Celtics lost to the Heat in Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Final score was 118-107. Jason Tatum had a strong first half, but Jimmy Butler was the story of the night, recording 41 points and 4 steals and taking over in the third quarter. The Celtics were missing Marcus Smart now, but Ty, are you starting to worry about our team's chances to make the finals?
Nah. I'm not. All right. So the Heat started off like the Celtics, like a stagnant, like ISO, kind of ISO heavy, just doing pretty much nothing. Their defense was okay to start. I mean, obviously, eight third quarter turnovers.
It was
They went into the.
We had
60.
six.
They went into the second half with some serious energy. I don't know where it came from, but one thing that I really noticed, so the narrative was pushed that Tyler Hero was like sucking the whole like first 2 rounds, and then he comes out and just drops 18 on us. So it's like, bro,
he dropped 18. It was a good 18 too.
It was a good 18.
47%. I saw. Yeah, I looked at those stats earlier.
Now he was 1 for 5 from 3, but he was hitting ridiculous floaters in the paint like it was nothing.
Yeah. Hey,
And,
Peyton Pritchard matched his offense though for sure.
He did. But like I said this the other day, like the Celtics cannot guard shooters. Vincent, I don't know his first name. Something Vincent dropped like 17.
Oh, Gabe Vincent. Yeah,
Gabe Vincent. I've never heard of that guy.
He got hot.
He also got cooked by JB. You know, he went for the little jab and he like fell. That was pretty
That
bad,
was
but it doesn't matter when doesn't matter when you lose, but it's all good.
Yeah.
And obviously things like Jimmy Butler dropping 41, it probably won't happen again this series. He's not
Probably.
He's just not I don't know. Like he was talking about in a post-game interview, next game he wants to go 0 for 0. Like, bro, after dropping 41, you want to go 0 for 0? Like I don't even understand that. But yeah, all in all, another Celtics third quarter meltdown.
Yeah. I mean, it's the first of the playoffs though. And we lost game 1 against Milwaukee. We'll bounce back. All right, John, you go next. I'll finish last.
So the question was, should the Celtics be worried after a game 1? I'm going to come here and argue the exact opposite. I think they should be encouraged after 1, and here's why.
Oh, okay.
Because the Heat. All right, so the Heat played what the Heat did. Jimmy Butler got his, and everyone else was useless, pretty much. So if you think about it, he had 41, 9, and 5. Not a single other Heat player had over 20. The next closest was Tyler Hero with 18.
Yeah,
and I would say Tyler Hero is, honestly, in my opinion, one of the most underrated players in the league. But even by his standards, I wouldn't say it was a fantastic 18. He had some very tough shots, but he still could have improved. We have seen him play a lot better. But on Jimmy Butler's of 41 points, and I know each of you had him in your top 10. I will not kill you for having him in your top 10, but I think we can all agree that 41 points a night or even close to that for him will not happen again, I think, for the rest of these series. He might get close once, but I think we can expect anywhere between 25 to 28 from him per night. But in his 41 points, guess how many of those came from threes?
Zero.
None. Zero.
Nothing.
And guess how many came from the free throw line?
17.
17 of his
17.
41 points came from
I
the
hate them.
free throw line.
Yep.
That's not happening again. But on the Celtics
It better not.
side of the ball, Tatum had 29, 8, and 6. Jaylen Brown 24, 10, and 3. They each they combined were 6 for 17 from the three, which is average. I think each of them will improve. And Rob Williams and Payton Pritchard each had 18, which I still think is about what each of them are doing. But even by Payton Pritchard's, I said, standards, he didn't shoot as well as he can.
He only shot 4 of 11 from 3.
And on top of that, the Heat just came from what I would say was a pretty easy series against these Sixers, and these Celtics just beat the champions from 21. I mean, it was a hard series, hard fought series, and the Heat got a way bigger of a break than the Celtics did. Mm-hmm. So all of that adding up, Heat should have been favored in this game, and it was only a 9-point loss. I think the Celtics will come back. I don't think that he will play as good. I think these Celtics, outside of having a great first half, I think they will improve. And so if I were these Celtics, I would be encouraged by their game 1 loss.
Okay. Yeah, and Jake, before you go, I do want to point out 2 more things.
Sure.
So Rob is looking like Rob again.
Yes.
Obviously, he had a little injury yesterday, but it was just a cramp, and it was like a Charlie.
Yeah, Ime said it had nothing to, as far as he knew, it had nothing
He's
to do
all
with
good.
it. It probably wasn't concerning.
Which Rob is back, bro. Which is, I almost cried tears of joy because he was like himself.
He was
and
good.
I'm calling it now. We might see a Payton Pritchard emergence this year. This might be where he becomes Payton Pritchard.
They didn't have an answer for him. They did not have an answer for him.
And he missed a lot of shots that he can make. And obviously, like, bro, I think it was like early in the 4th. He runs down full sprint and just pulls up for 3 in Jimmy Butler's face, and it's money.
Yeah.
Like, bro,
not many people he was like 4
run from Jimmy Butler,
11 from 3. He usually
people run from Jimmy Butler on defense. Payton Pritchard goes up, fully contested, just like that's a great sign, and I love that.
That was right at the end. That was in the last 2 or 3 minutes of the game because we're trying to get back into it.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, first out, John. I think in this playoff run, Jimmy Butler has solidified himself as a top 10 player in the NBA. He's a superstar. Okay, he can't shoot the 3 ball well.
Over who?
Over DeMar DeRozan. Who were the other? I mean, we didn't mention any other guys. He's probably 10. He's 9 or 10. He's at the bottom of that list, but he's one of those guys. I mean, he is the heart and soul of that team. He's the Marcus Smart, but he can do more offensively, and he's a beast defensively. Yesterday, I mean, a lot of the things that he did, were more about the Celtics' failures rather than, all of the steals and everything. It recorded 4 steals. Most of those were probably in the 3rd quarter when Jason Tatum was just throwing them to Jimmy Butler practically. The 41 and then the 17 free throws. Yeah. Okay. Question is, am I worried about the Celtics?
Nope.
Short version, no. And long version, not at all. Okay. I'm going to throw out like a bunch of different things. I think I got 8 things listed here that are almost certainly not going to happen again. Okay. The Heat scored 118 points. I don't think that's happening again. The Bucks maybe did that once or twice. I mean, we'd have to check on that. I don't know that the Bucks did that with Giannis to us even once. They probably did it once. Not sure more than that. In the 3rd quarter, they outscored us by 25 points. It was 39-14. That is
Won't
not
happen
happening
again.
again in this series. There's not going to be that big of a differential in any quarter for the rest of the Celtics playoff run. That was Phoenix Suns Game 7 level bad. As you said, Jimmy Butler had 41 and shot 18 free throws. He better not shoot 18 free throws again. I know that Ime is going to have the team bring them together, and that's going to be a big part of the game plan going to next game. Don't bite on the pump fake. Don't send him to the line because that's where he's a real threat.
Yeah.
Okay, Jaylen Brown. I know you said 24. That is like the fakest 24 I've ever seen because he did have 24, but he had 9 points on 25% shooting from the field and 50% from the free throw line through 3 quarters. Going into the fourth, he had 9 points, and he had been making a quarter of his shots. He ended up he went off right down there in at the end in garbage time and had 15. He hit a couple of crazy threes, but it was at the point where we were still in it, but it is at the point where if you were going to do that, just do it earlier because then we still be in the game.
Right.
Okay, JT was obviously incredible in the first half, but he had 8 second half points. 8 second half points. So
I didn't know that he had that much, actually. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it was. He's not going to do that again. There's not going to be another game in this series that he only has 8 points, unless Jaylen Brown is just absolutely cooking. There's no way Jason's only going to have 8 second half points any other game, and he had 7 turnovers. I mean, he was bad turning the ball over. And after the first half, he was incredible in the first half. Like he was unstoppable driving to the basket. He was hitting contested layups, contested shots, driving down the lane over everyone. It was ridiculous. I don't think he's going to be that efficient driving the ball for the rest of the series. But he's going to have to somehow thread the needle to go between, all right, I'm going to still be good from the field, but I'm also not going to turn the ball over 7 times. Neither of those things are going to happen again. The Celtics scored 6 points in the paint in the second half. They scored 6 points in the paint in the second half. They had 42 in the first half. They had 40. Yeah. Jason Tatum was driving the ball, as I said. Rob was catching lobs. Tice was getting back cuts. And we were scoring inside. We were dominating them in the paint in the first half, and they really came out and shut it down in the second half. We had 6 points in the paint in the second half. That's not going to happen again. Guys, Peyton Pritchard played the 4th most minutes for the C's last night. Like,
honestly,
I have no problem with him getting minutes. Like, he needs to get those minutes.
I would argue it should be probably higher than that.
Really?
Okay, think who is in these Celtics starting lineup. I mean,
last night it was fine. Like last night it made sense, but going forward, like
last night,
I think all right. Hear me out real quick. So, they were
Derek White.
Derek White is garbage.
3 points. 3 points last night.
He needs to be Neesmith was trash on offense, but he is a killer defender.
Dude, he had 3 blocks last night.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was a when they counted on that dumb foul at the end on Jimmy Butler where he just slapped that crap away. I don't know if that one counts because of the foul, but he had a bunch of blocks.
But what I was saying, so I don't think Peyton Pritchard can play that many minutes in a row because he if the Celtics are struggling from the 3, he needs to be brought in, hit his first couple of threes, because he's a defensive liability. Jimmy Butler was attacking him, and they were trying to get him off switches to get onto Bam, and it's just those things don't work. I mean, Isaiah Thomas was an anomaly because he would drop 30 on your head and then just get 60 scored on him. So it is what it is. But Peyton Pritchard's not Isaiah Thomas, so he's gonna have to. They're gonna have to use his minutes wisely. If he's gonna get 20 minutes a game, it's gonna be tough to pick up for him defensively. Which, when you're 6 foot,
he had 30 last night. 30 minutes.
Yeah. I don't know that he will play 30 minutes again with Marcus Smart being back.
He can't. As soon as Marcus, he's not going to play that many minutes. I'm okay with him playing a bunch of minutes, but as far as 4th most on the entire team, that's
bad.
That's not going to work. Last night he was good. There was nothing against him last night, but that won't happen again. And the last thing I got written here is the Celtics had 16 turnovers. Okay, given all of that, given the fact that we had no Marcus Smart, no Al Horford, Jimmy Butler has 41 points. JB had 9 points going into the 4th quarter. JT only had 8 second half points and 7 turnovers. The Celtics scored 6 points in the paint in the second half, and we had the 16 turnovers. We only lost by 11 at Miami.
It was just a huge meltdown. It was.
What I'm saying is, given all of those shortcomings, we only lost by 11 without Marcus Smart, without Horford. We went 8 deep, but we didn't even really go 8 deep. We went 7 deep, and then Neesmith had 11 minutes.
Yeah.
JT had to play 44 minutes. JB played 43. Grant played 35-ish, and then, as I said earlier, Pritchard had 30. Like, everybody had to play the whole game. Everybody had to carry the load. I wasn't as worried when we were going into this game about not having Smart and Horford, but not having 2 more guys to just pick up minutes. Like, it wasn't even like I was worried about not having Marcus Smart and Al Horford on the defensive side of the ball and Al Horford shot making, all that stuff. It was more about now everybody else on the team is going to be more tired after we just have played back-to-back games nonstop.
Yeah.
And now that's just going to make it difficult going forward. But given all of those shortcomings, we only lost by 11. So I'm not worried at all. It was only one game. All of us probably thought that Miami was going to either win game 1 or game 2.
Right.
So we're at Miami. They have home court advantage. We're going to go home in game 3. It'll be a little iffy if we lose game 2, but still we go home. Game 3 becomes must win, so you don't go down 3-0. But yeah, it's only one game. They had home court. And the last thing, I mean, we lost game 1 versus the Bucks. They came out and punched us in the face and beat us on our home court, and we bounced back and beat them by 20 or 25 in game 2. So I'm picking the C's in game 2. I think Marcus will probably be back, but even if he's not, given all of everything that happened, we're going to be more prepared. Ime is going to take care of it, and JT is going to be better.
I agree.
And it's looking like Al Horford's only going to be out like through Thursday, and then he'll be back Saturday when we play. So
hopefully, I just like I said, I'm just worried about the depth there without them.
Right.
Yep. And I'm going to say this one more thing before we move on. If I'm the Celtics, I'm not scared because the Heat are right now the only team in that they're the only team that is left in the league in which you can argue that they don't have a top 10 player. Is the only one where that can even slightly be an argument, right?
At this point, yeah.
Yeah. And so I wouldn't be confident in the sustainability of what they put on last night purely for that fact. And you have to think that the ultimate goal of this series is to get on and win the championship. And I think the Heat have the worst odds, despite what everyone says, to win. If you remember in episode 1, which just a side note is officially uploaded. We are an official podcast, guys. You're welcome.
Let's go.
If you remember, I think all of us picked Celtics in 6, and I said the Heat would get 2 games purely on they are a talented team.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look at the Heat and you look at the history of the teams that have won the championship, if the Heat were to even have a chance at a title, they would become the first team since the 1995 Houston Rockets that would not be led by a top 5 player in the whole league. And you can't look at the team and really be terrified of them because their best player, while talented, I don't think can carry the team all the way, especially against the best defense in the league. So
I don't know. I think you're sleeping on Jimmy a little bit. I've got him top 10. I agree. 41 is probably the most he's going to have in this series. He can't shoot the 3 ball. He's good from mid range, and he's a good finisher through contact and all those things. But yeah, the 18 free throws and 41 points probably won't happen again. Yeah, but I'm not going to be. I won't be surprised to see him average 30 in this series.
Wow, 30.
I don't know that he's going to get the mismatches anymore with Marcus being back.
Yeah, I could
I
see
mean,
that.
obviously, there will be a few times where Peyton Pritchard's in the game and he gets switched on. But other than that, once Marcus is back, there's no like smaller point guard to attack. Because even Derek White can like hold his ground with him.
Yeah,
There were a few times where he was.
I like
holding
Jason.
it.
I like Jason taking the challenge with him a couple of
Yeah,
times.
I do too.
I mean, if we can wear him out more on the defensive end, Jimmy's not really one of those guys that's just going to fold.
Right.
If we can wear him out more on the defensive end, that takes away the threat of his offense.
Right, and I think what's holding me back from putting Jimmy in the top 10 is he is offensively very effective. Obviously, was 41, 9 and 5. He's very effective, but he's not as dominant as the other players that I would have on there. Like he does not control the game as much as others that I would have on there.
Mm-hmm. Quick question. If he wins this series, which obviously none of us think he will, but if he pulls it off, if they win this series, are you going to put him in your top 10?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I'll probably have him at 8.
Yeah.
Ooh.
All right. So we all agree that we should not be worried about the Celtics. Everybody's still confident in their Celtics pick. All right. Let's move on.
Totally. So we have discussed game 1 between the Heat and the Celtics and the Celtics shortcomings. So Jake, what do the Celtics have to do to win tomorrow? Or I guess when it's uploaded, it'll be today,
tonight.
but it's really tomorrow. When they play tomorrow, what do they do to what do they have to do to win the game and go home with the series tied 1-1?
Okay. I think the easy one we'll get out of the way is limit turnovers. They had 16. JT had 7 of his own, so we got to limit the turnovers.
Yeah.
We've got to get our bigs easy buckets at the rim. As I said earlier, we had 42 points in the paint in the first half, and it was great. Rob was catching lobs over the top. It was opening things up on the defense. When Jason Tatum gets down or Peyton Pritchard, any of those guys, the ball handlers, gets to the top of the key, they would draw 2, and it would open up lanes to shooters in the corners, or would open up for room for a back cut, and then you would get an easy dunk or an easy layup for one of our bigs at the bottom. So that's what we've got to do going forward. We've got to continue to drive into the paint, and that's what's breaking down their zone defense that they're running against us. My third option, or my third thing that the Celtics need to do is Pritchard needs to hit his threes. And I think he needs to average 14 points per game in this series, at least. When he's hitting his threes, when he can get all the way outside, they've got to send somebody out that way. It breaks down the defense. It opens up so many things. It doesn't have anything to do with what type of defense they're running. Unless you've got to send a man out there across the league. That's how it works. So if you're going to leave Peyton Pritchard open, he's going to knock. He needs to hit down. He needs to hit those threes. And then if they send the guy out there, then that opens things up for him to make a play elsewhere. But he needs to be a threat from 3 to break down the defense, because the Heat have a really good defense, and points are going to be really hard to come by in this series. So Pritchard needs to be a guy that we can go to going forward, like he was last night. Okay, my fourth thing we need to do, we need to keep Jimmy Butler off the line, as we've talked about. 18 free throws. I don't think that's going to happen again, but he's not a huge threat. He's not a threat shooting the 3 ball. He's not a huge threat shooting the mid-range. Okay, so he's going to drive the ball. If we can avoid fouling him, that's where he's really a threat, because then he goes to the line, he'll knock down all his free throws, and then it gets him going, and then he's confident shooting from there on out. So we need to keep him off the line. And then the last thing, obviously, just step up on defense. We need to continue to close out on shooters. We held them to 33% in game 1, so we did a decent job. A couple of guys got hot. I think that'll probably be 33, 34 is where they're going to end up at averaging for the series. They might have a couple games where a couple guys get loose, but I don't think they're going to shoot over 33, 35% or so, but for about a couple of these games. So we need to step it up on defense and continue to close out to the shooters. And then the biggest thing, JT needs to be better. He needs to make better decisions. He is such a big threat on offense that when he gets down low, when he drives into the paint, it opens up so many things. You could see everybody was bringing help everywhere, and it was opening up everything. But when he's driving into double teams and he's making poor passes because he's not taking care of the ball, that's where things shut down. In game one, the problem was the reason we got outscored 39-14 in that third quarter was because of the turnovers. It wasn't just because when you have those turnovers, when you're turning it over every other play, it makes it hard to get that rhythm going offensively. And when you're giving them the ball and they're getting free buckets at the other end, it makes it so much easier for them because they're getting the rhythm going. They're like, we're already scoring. Let's just keep it going, keep pouring it on. And that's exactly what happened. We couldn't get anything going offensively. We scored 14 in the quarter, Phoenix Sun style, which is really bad. So Jimmy Butler obviously scoring, taking all those steals, gets them going offensively. So we've got to limit the turnovers, and JT's got to make good decisions. It's not about him having 30. If he makes better decisions and limits the turnovers, we'll win.
Yeah. And I mean, you pretty much have said everything. I just want to say that, we need to find those key mismatches on defense, like JT on Tyler Hero, JB on Tyler Hero, JB on Gabe Vincent. Like we need to pick out anything other than
everyone on Tyler Hero. If Tyler Hero is on defense, just push.
although he's not a liability, but he is not. He's not
Jimmy Butler. He's not Max Strus.
He's not a threat.
He's not Bam.
And again, we need to make our threes, make better decisions, limit turnovers, get it. And I think we are the better fast break team, so we need to get out on the break off of rebounds.
Get the ball to Jason Tatum out on the fast break. It's a done deal.
Yeah, and I mean, I think plays like the Jaylen Brown lead pass to Peyton Pritchard, and he gets that nice finger roll. That can happen so many more times than it did in that game. And we need to win the fast break battle. We need to win the rebound battle. We need to win the paint battle. Because it's going to be tough to win the 3-point battle. They've got Tyler Hero, Max Strus, Gabe Vincent. Is Duncan Robinson even going to play?
I don't know.
But they've got him.
Probably not. I wouldn't
if you can break things down and get good looks, that's going to be more important than just hitting 40% from three.
Right. Yeah. Those are my key points.
Okay.
Right. And everything that y'all have explained, that they need to do to improve to get a win and two. A lot of the compromise and game one was the fact that they had zero rest, and by the second half were completely exhausted. I think the key points for a game two before heading home is first and foremost, and y'all have already said it, but they need to stop Jimmy Butler from being able to score whatever he wants. I mean, they did not have an answer for him on the offensive end of the court. He was scoring whatever he wanted. He didn't hit the threes, but then again, he didn't take, I think, but two. And he was scoring everything inside. He got to he shot 18 of free throws, and Jake, as you said, that can't happen. I think they need to hold him to 30 or under to be able to have a chance at a stop, because they don't have a player that can replicate what Jimmy put on yesterday. And I think kind of piggybacking off of that, for how much hate, and I guess, hate is a strong word. I think for how much I undervalue Jimmy, he hustled more than everyone on these Celtics yesterday combined. And I think that has a lot to do with the fact that they are exhausted. They played a tough series, it hasn't even been 2 days, and they are already back playing a Heat team that is well rested. I think they need to hustle a lot more. Tatum had 29, Jaylen Brown had 24, but it was a quiet 29 and 24. I think they need to be a bit more productive on the offensive end of the floor. And I just think overall they need to to play as they have been up until now, because if they can't produce what they have been that brought them past the Nets and past the Bucks, they won't be able to make it past the Heat. But after all that, after you stop Jimmy from scoring as much, and after you hustle a bit more, it only comes down after that to one thing: the Celtics have to not suck. All they have to do is play okay basketball. Because if you think about the two teams, you have the Heat and the Celtics. The Celtics have an overall better offense, and I don't really think it's close.
Yeah.
When each of them are at their peak, and it isn't a strong argument, but there's an argument to be made that the Celtics defense is also way better than the Heat. Heat have a very good defense, but I think the Celtics is superior. So on both ends of the floor, the Celtics have the advantage. So if they play their game, if they don't overthink it, if they stay on their people and keep them from primarily being in the paint, because the Heat are a very good in the paint team. If they can keep them out of the paint and they can play their game, then it will be a very short series, I think.
Yeah.
Are y'all still confident with your Celtics and six pick, or do y'all think it will go to 7 games?
I got it at 6.
I think it can go 7. It definitely can, but I don't know, bro. I don't see JT having a game, or I'll say a half like that again.
Right.
And
yeah, I mean,
one thing I noticed that I wanted to point out. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
The Celtics had 18 assists in the first half, right?
I actually don't know.
Yes.
It was 16 or 18.
We had a lot of assists.
It was either 16 or 18. They ended the game with 22.
Yeah.
They killed it with the ball moving in the first half, and then it just went away.
Yep.
They need to keep the ball moving for the entire game until that buzzer goes off in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure what happened there, because as I watched the game, the team in the first half and the team in the second half was completely different.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Celtics, in some senses, played a pretty much flawless half. And in the first, they were getting stops, they were getting passes, they were scoring. Then I think they kind of overexerted themselves there, to when they carried it on to the second half, they didn't have anything. And I think especially when you don't have as much of a break as you want, and you do have people like Smart and Horford who are out, I think you need to pace yourself a bit more, so that stuff does not happen again.
Yeah.
So who do you guys have in game 2? Because I've got the Celtics.
It depends on the first half, or actually,
got to pick now, boy.
I'd
got the
actually
Celtics
say
with or without Marcus.
Well, Marcus will most likely be playing, but I've got Celtics. I've got faith in the boys.
I have the Celtics convincingly. I think they will have a win of anywhere between 15 to 18 points, because I think they will be a much better team in the second half than they were in a game 1. I think Tatum will play a lot better. I think Peyton Pritchard will shoot a lot more consistently than he did. And we have all stated, but I don't think that Jimmy Butler will have another 41 points.
Yeah.
So with the Heat at home, I got these Celtics in game 2 by anywhere between 15 to 18 points.
Okay.
It's a big take.
I think that's on the table for sure. I'm not gonna pick that. I probably got us by 5 or so. I think it's
So
on
you
the
think it'll
table
be
that we
really
have a
close?
convincing win. Like
Yeah.
that's I think it's on the table that we have a convincing win because that's what we
And it'll
did
be huge.
against the Bucks. I think that's definitely possible. I don't know that I'm going to pick it, but yeah, I got us winning tomorrow. And even if we don't tomorrow, I'm not going to be concerned.
Yeah.
Right. And I think the key for the Heat, if they even want to have a chance over these Celtics, is Tyler Hero.
Oh yeah.
He is, outside of Jimmy Butler, their most offensively talented player, and I think if Hero can manage to get more than 18 against a Celtics team that was exhausted, then I think the Heat are pretty much done.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Pretty much agreed. Okay. Well, I guess that's episode 2. So it's going to
it's
go
been
out
good.
probably tomorrow morning, which would be Thursday morning. And then we're going to be recording our reactions to game 1 of the Mavs.
Mavs in 5. I'm calling it now, boys. Put it on the books. Mavericks against the Golden State Warriors in 5.
If they lose tomorrow, it's a gentleman's sweep.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, that's episode 2. We'll have our reaction to game 1 and then talking about game 2 up on Friday, which will be tomorrow for you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate it. And that's a wrap.
Peace out.
See y'all tomorrow.
Meow.